Part 1. First contact hand. The confusion begins 1100 words far away in the galaxy. The galactic exploration vessel Yeneth floated quietly at the edge of a solar system called Sol. This system had one planet the scientists were very curious about. That planet was Earth. Captain Trellin stood at the front of the command deck. It was a Zarthia species known for their 6 eyes, long necks, and love of order and science. Trellin was an expert in classifying planets. His job was to decide if a planet was safe or dangerous for galactic travel. Today, he was reviewing Earth's first full report. As he scrolled through the data on his glowing screen, he slowly became more and more confused. Extreme climate. Shifts. ... Dangerous weather. Unstable tectonic plates. Trellin read aloud. And what is this? Predators on land, sea, and air? Plants that can poison, burn, or paralyze? He paused and rubbed 2 of his eyes. Another officer, Lieutenant Charn, walked up beside him. Sir, I believe Earth is what we call a death world. But the readings are even higher than we've ever recorded. Trellin nodded slowly. It fits all the signs. It's beyond dangerous. They both stared at the screen. Earth had intense storms that formed suddenly and destroyed entire cities. Volcanoes erupted without warning. Earthquakes ripped apart landscapes. Its oceans held creatures like the orca, who hunted in packs, and the great white shark who smelled blood from miles away. Even tiny insects carried venom or diseases that could kill most known species. Worse, some Earth bacteria were described as being able to think around medicines. They adapted and changed to survive. That kind of behavior was unheard of in microbes. Trellin frowned. How did the dominant species, the humans, survive here? He looked deeper into the files. Earth had massive temperature changes, freezing. Cold in one area, burning heat in another. Lightning storms that struck the ground hundreds of times per minute. Even peaceful-looking areas like rainforests and lakes were filled with animals and insects that could sting, bite, crush, or kill. Earth was terrifying. Trellin tapped a button and read the official rating out loud. Classification. Class. 15 Death World. Highest danger level confirmed. Lieutenant Charn let out a long whistle. We've never rated any planet this high before, sir. Even Class 12 planets have to be avoided by most species. Trellin nodded. Most species wouldn't last 5 minutes down there. Then suddenly a message came through. It was an old signal, one that Earth had sent years ago. Somehow it had just reached this part of the galaxy. Charn played. The screen lit up. A smiling human, dressed in a simple blue shirt, looked straight at the camera. Hello, neighbors. Welcome to Earth. Come visit. Bring snacks. The crew was stunned. Trellin leaned forward. What was that? Charn looked shocked. They invited us to that place. The human had sounded cheerful, even friendly. It didn't match anything they'd just read. The data showed a world filled with danger, death, and unpredictable chaos. But the humans weren't warning others away. They were welcoming them. This doesn't make any sense, Trellin said. Are they trying to trick us? Or do they not realize how dangerous their own world is? Charn tilted his head. Maybe they know, but it doesn't scare them. That idea sent a chill through the room. Trellin ordered the team to pull up more data photos, videos, anything recorded by Earth's satellites and space stations. What they found only deepened the mystery. Videos showed humans surfing waves, taller than buildings, climbing icy mountains with bare hands, swimming with sharks, racing cars at deadly speeds, running into burning buildings to save others. And these weren't soldiers or trained professionals. Many of them were just ordinary people. Some were even children. One video showed a human child, maybe 6 years old, walking through thick snow while laughing. Another showed kids chasing tornadoes with their parents. One particularly shocking clip had a man wrestling an alligator while others cheered. Do they train their young in this madness? Trellin whispered. They kept watching. In the deserts, humans lived where temperatures reached 50 degrees Celsius. In the Arctic, they built homes in sub-zero temperatures. Cities, they created machines that flew through the sky. explored the ocean floor, and even reached space. Despite all the chaos, Earth had life everywhere. Forests, jungles, rivers, oceans all teemed with living creatures. And humans didn't just survive, they thrived. They raised families, built schools, helped animals, cared for plants. Trellin tapped a button to pause the screen. So, is a planet that tries to kill them every day. And yet, they raise their young with laughter. They protect life. They build beauty. They want to share it. Lieutenant Charn shook his head slowly. This world is more than a death world. It's something else. Something we've never seen before. Trellin agreed. There had never been. A planet like Earth in the known galaxy? Most death worlds were empty, or home to violent, short-lived species that stayed isolated. Earth was the opposite. It was deadly but full of joy. It was wild but full of life. It was dangerous but deeply loving, and the humans. They were born in the fire and ice of this world, but they didn't run from it. They embraced it. The Council would need to hear of this. End of Part 1. Part 2. Observation from orbit. 1100 words. The galactic exploration vessel Yennearth stayed in orbit above Earth. Watching the strange and dangerous planet from space, the more the crew observed, the more confused and fascinated they became. Captain. Trellin stood in front of the large observation window, all 6 of his eyes focused on the blue and green world below. From up here, Earth looked beautiful, peaceful. Clouds moved slowly over the oceans. Storms swirled in the distance, and lights from human cities sparkled during the night. But the calm beauty was misleading. Earth was far from peaceful. Begin. Full surveillance, Trellin ordered. I want everything recorded, whether patterns, animal behavior, human activity, everything. Lieutenant Charn and the other crew members began collecting data. Their screens filled with live feeds from satellites, drones, and hacked Earth broadcasts. What they saw next only added to the mystery. Storms appeared over the oceans, quickly growing in size. These storms, called hurricanes by the humans, could rip apart buildings and flood entire cities. Lightning storms struck hundreds of times per minute. Winds moved at deadly speeds. On land, earthquakes shook entire regions. Volcanoes exploded with fire and ash. Insects swarmed and carried dangerous diseases. Forest fires spread fast, burning anything in their path. Yet, despite all of this, humans continued to live everywhere. Some lived near volcanoes. Others lived in deserts with no water. Some built homes near the sea, where hurricanes often hit. Even in freezing lands covered in snow and ice, humans smiled, played, and built communities. This planet is trying to kill them every day, said Charn, watching a video of a man calmly shoveling snow off his car while a blizzard roared around. Trellin narrowed his eyes, and they act like it's normal. The more they watched, the more surprising things they found in one live video. A human jogged through a desert where temperatures were over 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. In another, a woman swam under a frozen lake in just a swimsuit, holding her breath for minutes at a time. Children played in mud puddles after a rainstorm. Teenagers snowboarded down mountains. People climbed dangerous cliffs, jumped from airplanes, and ran long distances for fun. It wasn't just that humans survived Earth's dangers, they enjoyed them, are they? Testing themselves? Charn asked. No, said Trellin. They're playing. It made no sense. Other species avoided danger. They built entire lives around staying safe. But humans seemed to embrace challenge. Pain, cold, heat, danger, none of it scared them away. The crew continued to observe. Now, focusing more on the humans themselves, they noticed something else. Humans didn't just survive alone. They worked together. They protected each other. They shared food, helped the sick, rescued injured animals, and built shelters during disasters. After a deadly earthquake hit one city, humans from other places arrived within hours, bringing aid, medicine, and comfort. They didn't run from danger, they ran into it to help others. One crew member showed a video where a child, no older than 10, stood in front of a dog, growling at her family. The dog barked, showed its teeth, but the child calmly knelt down and offered food. Within minutes, the animal sat next to her, tail wagging. "This world breeds courage early," said Charn. "Even their young face, danger without fear." The crew watched schools, where children learned first aid, survival skills, and how to care for plants and animals. In one classroom, kids were learning how to grow food in small containers. In another, students were being taught how to swim safely in rivers and lakes. Even more surprising, humans taught their young about feelings, kindness, empathy, patience. They didn't just train them to survive. They trained them to care. Trellin was deeply puzzled. A death world, but with teachers and nurseries. The contradiction kept growing. Earth was one of the most dangerous places ever found, but it was also full of beauty. Forests stretched for miles. Animals lived in balance with the land. Birds sang in trees. Whales sang in the deep ocean. Flowers bloomed in colorful patterns. Humans planted gardens, raised animals, and painted. Art on walls? Is it possible, Charn asked, that danger and beauty exist side by side here? Trellin considered this. Maybe Earth is like a forge. The heat and pressure shape something strong, but not just physically, emotionally, socially. More strange behavior appeared on their screens. A human stopped his car in the middle of traffic to help a duck and her babies cross the road. A woman carried injured bats in a blanket to safety after a storm. In one case, a man ran into a burning building twice to save people he didn't know. When asked why, he replied simply, "Because it was the right thing to do." Trellin was stunned. This species is deeply emotional. They value life even in a world that threatens theirs every day. And then the Unearth received another signal from Earth. This time it was a television program. A man and his children were camping in the wild. He was teaching them how to start a fire, find safe water, and avoid poisonous plants. The children listened closely. One girl giggled as she caught a frog. The man looked into the camera and said, "Earth is wild, yes, but it's also our home. We raise our children to respect it, to learn from it, and to care for it." The crew watched in silence. Lieutenant Charn turned to Trellin. "Captain, I think we've been thinking about this the wrong way." "How so?" "We assumed Earth was only a death world. But what if it's also a training ground? A place where life is hard, but life also teaches?" Lon slowly nodded. "That would explain why humans are so adaptable, so emotionally strong, so strange." He walked to the console and tapped a command. "Prepare a request," he said. "We're going to make contact, carefully, but it's still dangerous," warned Charn. Trellin's voice was calm. "Yes, but I need to know how a species can raise children in a world of death and still teach them to love it." End of Part 2. Part 3. Touchdown. The galactic exploration vessel Unearth floated in low orbit above Earth. After many days of observation, Captain Trellin finally made a decision. "We will land," he said. The crew looked surprised. Even Lieutenant Charn hesitated. "But, sir, this is a Class 15 death world," Charn reminded him. "It's the most dangerous planet we've ever found." Trellin nodded. "Yes, but we must understand it fully. Watching from space is not enough. We need to meet the humans in person, need to see how they survive, and how they raise their young in such a place." The captain chose a quiet place to land, a snowy region called Norway. It was winter there. The land was covered in white snow, and the air was cold enough to freeze most known species. But humans still lived there comfortably. The ship gently descended and landed in a flat area, near a small human village surrounded by forests and mountains. The Unearth's outer shell adjusted to Earth's atmosphere. All crew members wore full protective suits, complete with environmental shields, disease filters, and emergency oxygen. They looked like armored machines. Trellin stepped out of the ship first. The snow crunched under his boots. The cold air swirled around them. "This place feels quiet," said Charn, stepping behind him. "But I don't trust it." Suddenly, they saw movement in the distance. A small human figure walked through the snow, approaching the ship slowly. It was a child. She wore a thick jacket, wool hat, gloves, and boots. Steam puffed out of her mouth as she breathed in the cold air. In her hands she held a mug with steam rising from it. As she came closer, she waved cheerfully. "Hi," she said, smiling. "You guys look cool. You want some cocoa?" Trellin blinked. All 6 of his eyes focused on the tiny human. "You're not afraid?" he asked. The girl shrugged. "Nah, Mommy says the cold builds character." Trellin tilted his head. "What does that mean?" The girl smiled wider. "It means tough weather makes you tougher." Trellin had read that phrase before. It was a human saying, used to explain how suffering and hardship made people stronger. But hearing it from a child made it even more surprising. Before he could speak again, more humans came into view. Adults, teenagers, and children all bundled up in winter clothes. Some held baked goods, others waved. One man held a small animal, a dog, wagging its tail. "Welcome to Norway," said a woman with red cheeks and curly hair. "Would you like to come inside and warm up? We have tea and cookies." The alien stood frozen in shock. Trellin finally managed to reply, "You're not surprised to see us?" The woman laughed. "Oh, we've known someone would show up eventually." "The stars are too full to stay quiet forever," Charn whispered. "To the captain, sir? We just landed on the deadliest planet known to the galaxy. And the locals are offering us baked goods." Trellin nodded slowly. "Yes, I noticed." They decided to accept the invitation. Carefully, the crew followed. The humans to a nearby cabin. Inside, the warmth from a fireplace filled the room. The air smelled like cinnamon and chocolate. Children laughed and played with pets. Snow melted off boots. Blankets were offered. The aliens didn't remove their suits at first. They were too afraid of the bacteria, the air, the unknown risks. But soon, they realized the humans had gone out of their way to clean everything. The air was safe. The food was freshly made. Everything had been done with care. "Are you always this? Welcoming to strangers?" Trellin asked. An old man with a white beard answered, "Well, you came in peace, didn't you? We figured you might be cold." The crew stayed for 48 hours. In that time, they experienced both comfort and chaos. One alien slipped on the icy steps and would have fallen, except a human teen caught him with quick reflexes. Another officer was chased by a curious creature. Called a cat, it leaped onto his shoulders and began purring. At first, the officer panicked. Then he realized it just wanted attention. A child bit Charn's arm while pretending to be a dinosaur. Charn's arm were held up. The child then hugged him and said, "You're fun." Even outside, Earth showed its wild nature. A storm arrived that night. Wind howled, snow blew sideways. Trees creaked under the weight of ice. But the humans lit candles, sang songs, and told stories. The storm wasn't something to fear, it was something they were used to. Trellin recorded everything. He watched as humans helped each other, shared food, and told jokes in the middle of freezing weather. He saw how they treated their children with both love and trust, allowing them to explore, fall, and learn. One scene stayed in his mind. A little boy fell into the snow while playing, cried for a moment. His father walked over not to pick him up, but to encourage him. "You're okay," the father said gently. "Try again." The boy wiped his eyes, stood up, and kept playing. That was when Trellin understood something important. Earth was not just dangerous, it was a teacher. The world itself forced humans to grow stronger, braver, and wiser. And instead of hiding their children from danger, humans taught them how to face it with laughter, love, and courage. This place, Trellin whispered to himself, ... is not just a death world. It is a training ground, a nursery of strength. The final day, as the Yennearth prepared to leave, the villagers gathered to say goodbye. "We hope you'll visit again," said the woman with the curly hair. "Next time, try summer. The mosquitoes are enormous." Charn shuddered. "How do they survive this place?" Trellin replied quietly. "They don't just survive it. They raise their children herein somehow. make them kind. End of Part 3. Part 4. Galactic Uproar. When the exploration team from the galactic vessel Yennearth returned from Earth, they brought more than just data. They brought stories, recordings, emotions, confusion, and something no one expected to expect for the humans, Captain. Trellan stood before the Galactic Council, a huge group made up of leaders from hundreds of different alien species. The council chamber was enormous, filled with glowing lights, floating data screens, and the quiet hum of discussion as Trellan walked to the center. The entire chamber fell silent. All members of the council, he began. We have completed direct contact with the planet Earth. There was a pause. Then the questions began. Is it as dangerous as the reports claimed? Asked a long-necked ambassador from the Kaleri species. Yes, Trellan replied. Earth is a true death world. Whether wildlife, disease, terrain, every part of the environment is capable of ending life quickly. A thick-skinned member of the Bruden race raised a hand. And the dominant species, the humans, how have they survived? Many eyes blinked. They do not just survive, they thrive. They grow families, raise children, build cities, and even play games. While surrounded by deadly forces, the room erupted in noise. Many were shocked. Some laughed, thinking Trellan was joking. Others looked nervous. Surely they live in protected cities with high technology. One council member shouted, No. Trellan answered calmly, Some do. But many humans live in simple homes, in villages, in forests, mountains, or deserts. Some even choose to live near volcanoes or in frozen wastelands. And they raise their young there with joy. The council could not believe it. How can that be safe? Asked a small fuzzy creature from the Lintari race. We keep our young in climate-controlled rooms until they're 20 cycles old. Trellan nodded. So do many others. But Earth forces its inhabitants to learn early. Human children grow up being taught how to handle danger, not avoid it. Lieutenant Charn stepped forward and played a recording. The chamber went quiet again. On the screen, a human father gently encouraged his son to get up after falling in the snow. You're okay. Try again, he said, smiling. The boy stood, dusted snow off his jacket, and kept playing. Another clip showed a teenage girl carrying an injured bird to safety. She held it softly, covered it with her scarf, and whispered, It'll be okay. I've got you. Gasps filled the room. Some species had never seen such emotional connection especially not with another creature. Trellan explained further. The humans are strong, yes, but they are also deeply emotional. They care. They help. They protect one another even in the worst conditions. We saw strangers help each other during a snowstorm, and families take in visitors with kindness and trust. A tall insectoid member of the Zarik Council asked, But how can they do this? How can they raise gentle children in such a brutal place? Charn replied, That is the mystery. And also the wonder of Earth. It is both extremely dangerous and incredibly nurturing. More silence. The Zarik delegate leaned forward. What are you saying exactly? Trellan took a deep breath. I am saying that Earth deserves two classifications, one for its physical nature, and one for the way its people live upon it. He tapped to control, and the following words appeared on a large screen above the council. Earth Class 15 Death World, highly dangerous, requires protective gear for most species. Not recommended for prolonged visits. Then he added a second line. Earth Nursery Planet highly effective at raising adaptive, emotionally strong beings. Encouraged for empathy training, resilience development, survival skills. Shockwaves spread through the chamber. A tall lizard-like leader hissed. This is madness. No world can be both a death trap and a nursery. But others were thinking differently. A member of the Nalarai species known for peaceful diplomacy stood up. Right. Maybe this explains why humans are so unique. They don't just survive pain. They grow from it. And they don't teach hatred, they teach healing. Another added, this could help other species. Our young are often protected so much they grow weak. What if a little danger could make them stronger? The debate exploded. Some species hated the idea. They believed young ones must be kept safe at all costs. Others were fascinated. They saw value in Earth's way of teaching strength through experience. The council couldn't agree. So, they called for a final voice to be heard. A representative from Earth. Her name was Dr. Lily Hart, human biologist, teacher, and mother of two. She appeared through a live video call from Earth, sitting calmly in a room filled with plants, books, and drawings by children. She smiled politely. "Hello, Council. I understand there is some confusion about my planet," one member asked. "Dr. Hart, how can you raise children in a world so dangerous?" She smiled again. "Because life itself is dangerous. Earth doesn't hide that truth. It teaches it. But we don't raise our children to fear the world. We raise them to respect it, to learn from it, to care for it." She showed short clips of children planting trees, cleaning up beaches, feeding animals, and learning about weather patterns. "We don't shelter them from every bump and bruise," she continued. "We teach them how to get back up, how to work together, and how to protect others. We teach them that strength and kindness go together," another member asked. "And what would you say Earth's greatest lesson is?" Dr. Hart answered with a sentence that would be remembered across the galaxy. "Earth teaches two things: that life is precious and that it fights to live." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then slowly, applause began. Soft at first, then louder, spreading across the council. Not everyone agreed, but enough did. Earth would be listed with a dual classification, the first in galactic history. One, side-warned of danger. The other celebrated its ability to raise life, and all across the galaxy. Species began to see Earth not just as a wild and deadly place, but as something rare and valuable. A living paradox. End of Part 4. Part 5. The dual designation after weeks of debate, arguments, and long council meetings. The Galactic Council finally made a decision that would change how the galaxy looked at Earth forever. For the first time in history, a planet was given to official classifications on the galactic map. Beside Earth's name, two clear labels were added: Earth Class 15 Death World Warning. High risk, extreme weather, dangerous wildlife, unpredictable conditions. Most species require protective gear. Visit with caution. EARTH Nursery Planet Emotional and Survival Development Note: humans raise young here successfully. Planet known for producing highly adaptable, emotionally resilient beings. Suitable for training in empathy, teamwork, and endurance. This news shocked the galaxy. No planet had ever been given both a Death World rating and a nursery label. For many species, it seemed impossible. How could the same world be one of the most dangerous places in the galaxy and also one of the best places to grow strong, kind children? But Earth had proven it. Over the next few months, aliens from many species sent more ships to observe Earth. This time, they came not with fear, but with curiosity. Some came to learn about Earth's extreme survival challenges. Others came to understand how humans raise children with such strength and compassion. And a few brave species even sent small groups of their young to attend exchange programs. On Earth, alien children come to Earth. The first program began with just 5 alien children. They came from different planets, some from peaceful, warm worlds, others from cold places where danger was rare. They were nervous. They had never experienced rain, snow, wind, or animals that weren't carefully controlled in labs. Their first stop was a small human school in Canada. It was winter. As they stepped out of the shuttle, snowflakes landed on their skin. One child gasped. Another panicked when a squirrel ran across the path. A third slipped and fell on the ice. But then, a group of human children ran up to them. "You okay?" Human boy asked, helping one alien stand. "Want to build a snowman?" A girl asked, already packing snow into a ball. And just like that, fear turned to laughter. That night, the alien children sat by a fire, sipping hot chocolate, their hands warming in mittens. They had learned how to walk on ice, how to stay dry in snow, and how to laugh when things didn't go perfectly. training through living more programs followed. Some focused on teaching teamwork through hiking and camping. Others helped alien children learn responsibility by caring for animals at farms and shelters. One group was brought to a town in Australia. There, they helped humans rescue injured animals after a wildfire. They learned how humans didn't run away from danger, they often ran toward it to save others. Another program took place in Japan, where alien children learned discipline and patience through martial arts. They trained beside humans, not in a spirit of competition, but in shared growth. One alien child, after months on Earth, said during an interview, "My planet taught me to stay safe. Earth taught me to be brave and kind at the same time." Galactic reactions. Not all species agreed with these programs. Some believed exposing children to Earth's conditions was too risky. Others didn't like the idea of learning from a species so emotionally driven, but many couldn't deny the results. Children who trained on Earth returned home stronger, were calmer in emergencies, more confident, and more thoughtful. They'd learned to solve problems, work in teams, and help. Others, even in the face of danger, galactic universities began studying human parenting methods. Words like emotional intelligence, resilience, practical empathy became popular topics. One research paper said, "Earth doesn't raise soft children, it raises adaptable, brave ones. And it does so without losing compassion." Paper was shared across hundreds of systems. A planet like no other back on Earth, humans were surprised by all the attention. Most had never thought their world was special. To them, Earth was just home. When reporters asked a group of human parents how they felt about raising kids on such a dangerous planet, one mother smiled and said, "We don't raise kids in spite of Earth. We raise them with Earth, the planet. Teaches, just like we do." In one touching story, a human boy and a young alien from the Cherished species got lost during a mountain hike. A sudden storm rolled in, and they couldn't find their way back. The human boy kept calm. He remembered what his father taught him. Find shelter, stay warm, don't panic. He found a cave, waited out the storm together. When rescue teams arrived, both were safe and the alien child was hugging his friend tightly. Later, the alien child told his parents, "Earth is scary, but I want to come back." The Galactic Council made a final broadcast. Earth is officially recognized as a unique Planet One where the natural world challenges life daily, and yet life responds with strength, wisdom, and compassion. While dangerous, Earth is also one of the galaxy's greatest teachers. The galactic map was updated one more time. This time, a small symbol was added beside Earth's name, a flame inside a heart. It stood for strength, forged in hardship, and kindness born from struggle, a living lesson the story of Earth. Traveled far and wide. Some alien parents still chose not to send their children there. Others applied eagerly. Some planets began adjusting their own education systems. It's inspired by what humans had done. But one thing became clear. Earth was no longer seen as just a wild, deadly place. It was a world full of life, love, and lessons. It was a death world, yes, but also a nursery, a place where life didn't hide from danger. It learned from it, and in doing so, Earth taught the galaxy something it had forgotten, that strength without compassion is just power, but strength with compassion, that's what makes a species truly extraordinary. End of part 5.